G'day guys, welcome back to the channel and welcome back for another episode of Wasteland Survival. So obviously last week's episode we were paid a visit by this here Crimson Tormentor, which is probably one of the biggest Reaver ships I've seen. I have seen one of these things before, a couple of times in the series, but yeah, this is the second time I've actually interacted with one of these things and kind of shot things at it. Another one kind of crash landed over there way back at, I think it was like episode 17 or something like that. And we did get a few resources from it, but yeah. Shortly after I made the modifications to the Reaver mod, where I disabled the ramming behavior and then enabled my antenna, this guy showed up. So yeah, I felt that was a little bit strange, but hey, you know what? I think overall though, the defenses on the base held up pretty well. I mean, yes, that turret installation there, that one there, and that one there are pretty much totally destroyed. But at the end of the day, that is kind of what I created these things for. The whole purpose of these things was to soak up a lot of the damage and dish out a lot of damage to any ships that kind of came near my base, rather than enemies firing on my base. And the base did cop a little bit of damage, so I mean probably nowhere near as much damage as these towers here. So you can see here the control tower, or the, yeah, what did I call this thing? I don't know, but this thing kind of got damaged quite a bit. Yeah, my satellite dish unfortunately got destroyed, but that's alright, it should be relatively easy to rebuild that. And I think there was some damage down here as well, done to the hangar roof, and then also, yeah, he managed to shoot down here, so I think also there's a missing conveyor junction here, or a conveyor pipe, so I need to fix that as well. And there was a minuscule amount of damage to the Atlas, which there's a little bit of deformation there, and there's a block missing here, but I mean overall I think the Atlas fared pretty well. I don't think it received too much damage, so yeah, I'm pretty happy with how that encounter turned out. Oh, there's a bit of damage there. Yeah, so anyway, a couple of things I noticed though while I was editing the last episode, or a couple of problems. So the first one being, and somebody actually pointed this out in the comments, but this turret installation did nothing. It didn't even bother to turn around and look at the Reaver. It didn't fire on anything. And yeah, so I need to figure out what is the go with that. In fact, I may just do that relatively quickly. So let's just have a look at this turret controller here. Alright, so I can see my first problem here is I haven't set an azimuth rotor, which is basically the railgun base rotor. So yeah, that's pretty much not going to work too well. And as you can see, enable AI is turned off, and the aiming radius was set incorrectly. So okay, that should be that turret there fixed. Another thing that I did notice as well was that this turret installation here seemed to be the only one where these autocannon turret, these custom autocannon turrets that I had built ages ago actually worked. So what I'm going to do though, just to kind of confirm that, is I'm just going to check how much ammo is in this turret installation to figure that out. So we have, yeah, so as you can see, like this thing had about 120 autocannon magazines, and now it's got barely any. So this thing was definitely working, and I could see it. Now I was wondering whether or not it was just the fact that these turrets weren't firing at all, or maybe there is something going on where, like, sometimes if you got too many bullet traces, then you won't see some of them because there's just way too many. So let's go ahead and check this one here. So autocannon, yeah. So yeah, okay. So as you can see, there's like 140 autocannon magazines here. So I don't even think these things were firing at all. And this one's still spazzing out. It's still just going in circles. I don't know what it is doing. So you know what? I'm just going to get rid of these ones. these ones here, and then when I go ahead and rebuild all of these turret installations, I'm not even going to bother with custom turrets anymore. There is definitely something wrong with those in the game, and I have checked these and I've controlled these manually, and I know that they do work, so I don't know what's going on. And also, unfortunately, I totally forgot to put ammunition in these turret installations here. So yeah, when the Reaver showed up, there was no gunfire from these, apart from that one Gatling turret over there, which, you know, happened to have ammunition in it. So yeah, there is that too. I need to fix that too. So, but I think the first thing I would like to do is get started on actually salvaging some stuff out of this Reaver. The main thing that I kind of want to salvage is uranium, so I'm just going to have a look here and see what sort of... well, that's interesting. Why is it just like a single door? I think actually maybe a large portion of the ship is just gone. Yeah, I think there might have been a door on this side as well. Man, I would actually like to get one of these almost fully intact for once. That'd be quite nice, but I can't complain too much. So yeah, as I was saying, the one thing that I really do want to retrieve from this thing is uranium. So I do believe that there is a reactor here. So let's grind this back. And let us rob all of the uranium from here. So, oh, my inventory is full, so I'm not going to be able to do that. That's alright. Maybe I should go and clear my inventory before I start raiding this thing, hey? Alright, well, my inventory is cleared, so let's go and rob this uranium. I was kind of hoping that there would be a lot more in this ship, but I honestly can't remember from the last time I ground one of these things down if there is actually any more... some components just lying around. I don't think there is any more reactors around this ship. I think that is the only one, which is a bit of a shame, but then again, if there was a large reactor with about 1,000 uranium in it, that would kind of be a bit overpowered, so I don't think there's anything there that's useful. From what I remember, if you grind through that, then you just end up at the back of the ship. So I don't think there's anything there that I really want. I'm just trying to determine if there is another reactor on this thing. I really don't think that there is. What about this hydrogen tank here? So I need small steel tubes. So I could get a bit of hydrogen from this thing as well. Well, that one's pretty much dead. I don't know how much gas these things have left in them though, so there is that. What sort of components do these have? Small steel tubes. I wonder if I can pinch the small steel tubes from here to repair that other one. And I always do find it interesting how my reputation with the SPRT kind of increases a little bit every time I grind one of those things down. Do these have any computers? I thought they did. No, they don't. Yeah. So, are there any more reactors around here? I really don't think there is, but at least we do have this jump drive with 1,000 superconductors, so that's pretty cool. So at least we do have that, and I do believe there is another one over here somewhere that is attached to this portion of the ship that's been totally annihilated. So unfortunately all the superconductors have been lost from that, and there should be another jump drive here, so all the superconductors from that are gone as well. So that is a bit unfortunate. I've got a ton of batteries, but yeah, I don't know. So I mean, realistically there isn't really that much here that is worth salvaging, but I kind of do want to grind this thing down because it's a bit of an eyesore. So I think what I'll do is I'll bring the world ship up here, and then we can kind of get started with that process. Now somebody made a good suggestion in the comments, and basically they said to make another cargo container purely for the items that I salvage from this ship to see exactly how much we actually get from it. So I think to that end, what I'll do is I'll move the Nomad out. See, the Nomad I would really like to... Maybe what I can do is I can grab the Atlas and then move the Atlas right next to this ship here, and then I can use that to store all the materials that I raid from this thing. Of course, I need to make sure that it doesn't get too heavy though, but it would really cut down on the amount of trips I need to make back and forth. So yeah, I certainly think that's worth doing. And also what I plan to do to try and save a little bit more time is when I'm grinding this thing down, I'm going to use the components that I get from this thing to then go ahead and repair my turret installations while I'm this close to them, because I think that will save me a bit of time. So, alright, well, I'm going to go down and, yeah, I think we'll move the Atlas. Alright guys, so I've gone ahead and I've repaired this little piece of damage here and also replaced this conveyor pipe as that was kind of blown up and missing. So, and also what I discovered is that when I kind of went ahead and redone the blueprint for the Atlas, or redesigned it into the Mark II, I forgot to add a lot of these guns to the group that controls all the guns in the ship. So it turns out some of them were still active, and then they started firing on that ship once again. So what I'm going to do first though is, I was planning to move this thing, but I kind of have a feeling that if I move it when those two ships are so close, then they'll kind of come to attack me. I'm not sure if that's the case. I think I've got to be in like a 2-kilometer radius or something like that. I can't remember. But first what I'm going to do is I'm going to empty everything out of this ship so that I know what is actually, yeah, what I actually gain from this. So let's go hide, empty. Yeah, so that I know what I actually gain from salvaging this, this Reaver ship. So let's move everything out of this thing. Okay, so that's everything removed from the ship, so with exception to this rocket launcher, but that's alright. I guess we can leave that, that's fine. So what I'll do now though is I'll actually disconnect this thing. So let me just make sure that this is the bottom connector. It is. Alright, so let's disconnect that. Okay, so now what I want to do is fix up my groups for these guns. Yeah, I think that should be all of them, but I guess we will wait and see what happens. Now, how much fuel have I got in this thing? 100%. Alright, that's fine. Alright, so let's move this thing up to the same level as the Reaver. Now, I'm pretty sure that all of the weapons on this thing are disabled, but actually I probably should have checked that before I decided to move the ship around it. I am pretty certain that I disabled all of the weapons, and I really hope that I'm right, because if not, then oh no, I didn't. Oh no, I lost a thruster. Alright, that's not too bad. Alright, let's leave the Atlas here and then go and disable these weapons. It should be able to stay here for a little while, but I'm going to go and get rid of this turret. Where was that turret? Alright, these turrets here. Let's grind these down.
Inventory full. Inventory full. Inventory full. Inventory full.
Okay, so I'm reasonably certain that is all the turrets gone now, so we shouldn't have any other problems. Let me just do a quick check to make sure that we definitely don't have any other active turrets here. That is non-functional, the railgun. There are some turrets on the side, but they're all dead. Alright, I think we should be good to go. What about this turret here? No, that's being ground down, I should say. Alright, let me move the Atlas over now. So how much damage did I sustain from that little mishap? Not a terrible amount, but still a little bit disappointing. I suppose I should have checked all the weapons beforehand. Alright, so let's land this thing ASAP because I am kind of burning through my fuel, which is what I don't want to do. Alright, let's park this thing about here. So I think I should be able to lock it down here. Yeah, there we go. Alright, so let's turn all the thrusters off. Okay, cool. And now we are good to go. Now I do really hope that there are no thrusters. I mean, not thrusters. I really do hope that there are no more active weapons on this thing. I'm pretty sure I've got them all. But, yeah, that's alright. Okay. Now let's go grab the weld ship, which I will once again turn into a grinder ship. Now, I really was tempted to build another one of these things, but yeah, I kind of really don't want to do that right now because I have so many other things that I kind of want to do. So, right, let's move this thing over, and I suppose actually, you know what? I'm going to go and land this thing near a connector of some sort so that I can grab myself some materials so that I can then go ahead and change out these welders for some grinders. Try not to crash it in the process though. Alright, there we go. Okay, so let's get rid of that, and let's get rid of that. And wow, okay. Now, do I have the materials to build a grinder? I should do. Well, actually, I don't think I should, but I should at least have the materials to place them down. Right, let's weld these up. So a lot of the materials that I need, I actually managed to grab from the guns that I just ground down. So let's dump all of that in there. Grab all this stuff. Weld this up. Alright, so I need some computers. What's this? I think that was computers actually. Maybe I can use that. Alright, there we go. Fantastic. Okay, cool. So let us remove these and then add in the grinders. So block tools, add that there. Okay, and then when I click, they should go off. Alright, let's disconnect the landing gear. And it looks like I've got a fair bit of charge in this thing, so yeah, should be good to go. Now, I also, while I was away, I disabled the railgun because it was just spinning around for some reason. I think it was trying to target this ship here, but it was kind of unsuccessful in doing so, so it was just kind of spinning in circles. So yeah, I ended up turning that off because that was being quite annoying. Alright, so I think what I'll do first though... Whoops. Wrong button. Alright, let's park this thing down on the ground here. And I might just go ahead and pick up all of the loose material that's sitting on the ground here. So you can see there's a few metal scrap pieces, and then there'll be a few bits and pieces lying around from when I ground down a whole bunch of other stuff. I did see some materials here before. Yeah, there's this stuff. I thought there was more stuff flying around. No, it just looks like metal scrap. Alright, so I'll pick all this stuff up by hand and then I'll be back once that is done. Okay, well I've gone ahead and I've picked up all the loose bits and pieces, all the ice and that sort of jazz. So in fact, I wonder how much ice I actually managed to get out of this thing. Let's have a look here. So, it's not heaps, but it's not negligible. So, well, I guess when you're considering large hydrogen tanks, maybe it is. Now I think the first thing I would like to do here is, I keep pressing the wrong button. Keep pressing F instead of V. What I think I'll do is I'm going to grind down these turrets here first, and then I'm going to use the components that I've grabbed from these turrets to then go ahead and repair the turrets that are missing on my turret installations. So I believe there is one over here as well, and then I can basically use these to fix the turrets that are missing on my installations. So that should hopefully save me a little bit of time later, but I guess we'll see what happens. Let's get rid of this one as well. Cool. Are there any others? I think there was more. I'm pretty sure there is more. And at this point, I really hope that I've gotten all the turrets. I'm pretty sure I have. But if just one of these things decides to fire on this poor little grinding ship, then it's not going to last very long. Alright, so I think my inventory may be full. Or unless there was a whole bunch of scrap metal sitting on that. Alright, let's park this thing up over here. And I do believe that we have no power on this grid, or the battery is damaged. So what I don't want to happen here is when I go ahead and repair this turret here. So let's pull the components from that and that. Alright, so I need to basically... What is so full of scrap metal in my inventory? Wow, that is a lot of scrap metal. Alright, let's dump that in there, and then hopefully I should be able to grab the materials for this from here. So I think I should have what I need, but we'll see what happens. And there we go. Awesome. Alright, so at least I've got 2 guns repaired, and that's kind of saved me a little bit of time. This was kind of the plan to start with, was to, yeah, pull the components from that to repair my stuff. And I think that is definitely a more efficient way to go. Okay, well, I went away and grabbed myself some more fuel for my jetpack, and then also while I was at it, I decided to add this 3rd assault cannon turret because, or no, sorry, the 2nd one, because I had enough materials left over in the Midas weld ship to actually build that. So at this point, I've completely emptied the, I would say weld ship, but it's kind of a grinder ship. So completely emptied it now. So now what I'm going to do is basically grind everything down and put it all into the Atlas, or at least as much as I can fit in the Atlas without it failing to lift off the ground, so, or without making it so heavy that it won't lift off. So I got to kind of be careful with that. Alright guys, well as you can see I have ground down a fairly decent chunk of the ship so far, so I'm really unsure as to whether or not I want to bother trying to get the hydrogen out of this thing. Yeah, I really don't know. I may just even forego that because I've got a massive hydrogen mine in space, and trying to claim one hydrogen tank, which I think there is like, there's like these two here, but I think they're damaged beyond repair. There might be one in here somewhere that might have some hydrogen, but I think that's dead as well. So I really just don't think it's worth it. But anyway, this is what I've managed to do with just one load in the world ship. So yeah, I think it's not too bad. So anyway, let us continue and then we can get the rest of this thing done. Okay, well, as you can see, I've ground down probably, I'd say, a third of this thing. I've still got a fair bit to go, and there has been quite a number of components that have decided to fall all the way down here, so I've got to clean that up a bit later as well. But I kind of had a bit of a change of heart when it comes to these hydrogen tanks here. So these ones here, they're completely dead. I'm not going to worry about those ones. Those ones there are dead as well, so I'm pretty sure if I look in these, there's nothing in here. Yeah, you can see there's nothing in there either.
Your health is critical.
Wow, really? Man, I only just like sort of kissed that part there. But these ones here, they actually have a decent amount of hydrogen in them. And I know I did say before that I wasn't going to bother trying to retrieve these things. But I think in this case I will. So what I'm going to do from here is grab my little weld ship, and you might have noticed that like I haven't time-lapsed the entire grinding process of this thing because it's taking forever, and some of it I've actually been doing by hand while I'm waiting for the grinder ship to charge. So yeah, it has been taking an enormous amount of time, unfortunately. I don't know why my health isn't going up. Oh, it is now, very slowly. Maybe it's because of the storm. Interesting. Alright, so let's grab this ship here. And kind of what I want to do is lock onto these tanks here. So I think what I'll do is I'll try and get my ship centered here, more or less. And I should be able to lock there. Okay, brilliant. So now from here, I'm gonna grind away this block here. And then finally, all I should need to do is grind this away. Now, hopefully these don't move too much. Now, I'm not gonna take these down to the base. I think what I'm gonna do is I am just going to put these down next to the Atlas, because I'm pretty sure my turrets near my base will actually fire upon these things, and that's exactly what I don't want to happen. So I think I'll just put them right next to the Atlas, and then we can kind of deal with these things later. I think what I'll probably do is take the Atlas back down to the landing pad, and then kind of drop it off, or drop off some hydrogen in the Atlas tanks, and then just kind of, let's hope that kind of stays there. Alright, that should be fine. I think what I'll do as well is I'm going to place, which direction is this hill going in? It's actually pretty level here, so maybe I'll just leave these tanks here, or maybe what I can do is just put a block here and a block here, and then maybe just another block over here. Actually, I'll place another block up here so these things don't want to kind of roll away on me, because I really don't want that to happen. And I should probably get rid of this warhead as well. Alright, so they should be fine there. Also, it's worth mentioning that I kind of approached this a little bit differently, because I noticed that these thrusters are always powered, and you can see it's putting out a decent amount of thrust. So I think what's happening here is the ship is actually trying to push itself up the hill, and I kind of suspect that if I grind away too much at the front, then it will become too back heavy and it will start falling down the mountain. So I've tried to remove as much material from the back of this ship as possible. This portion here doesn't seem to be connected to anything. I think that's like one of the nacelles that's kind of just been cut off. So yeah, I kind of want to leave this engine to dead last before I grind that down, and I'll try and grind away as much other stuff as I possibly can before I grind that engine away, because I really don't want it to fall down this valley, because it's going to be really hard to get the Atlas close to that so that I can drop off the materials. So anyway, let us get back to some grinding.
Swear I won't forget this, why do I regret this? In my mind reckless, thoughts are feeling endless. Sitting up I'm breathless, anxiety's infectious. I feel so defenseless, betrayed and embarrassed. I hate being open, I hate being broken. I feel like an ocean filled up with emotion. Anger ain't a potion, rub it on like lotion. I can feel it soaking, reopen, the scars have awoken. I can't move on till I let go. I feel so lost, never at home. Need to be strong, every breath hope. Cause I can't move on till I let go. I can't move on till I let go. I feel so lost, never at home. Need to be strong, every breath hope. Cause I can't move on till I let go. The pain makes it real, I don't wanna feel, I just wanna kill the bad thoughts and steal a good thought and meal. I'm just lost, I feel, I'm just lost to feel. I need time to heal, I can't steer the wheel. Cause this drive it kills, and it gives me chills. A nice road it feels, I slip off the peel and crash all the steel. Will I ever heal? I can't move on till I let go. I feel so lost, never at home. Need to be strong, every breath hope. Cause I can't move on till I let go. I can't move on till I let go. I feel so lost, never at home. Need to be strong, every breath hope. Cause I can't move on till I let go.
Alright guys, well I'm back and I have finally ground down this entire wreck. So all up, I reckon it took me at least a good 3 hours. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the time lapse. The time lapse was about 7 times. I did cut out the bits where I actually went on foot to grind a lot of things. Also, unfortunately, I totally forgot about these hydrogen tanks in between a save. And yeah, they basically despawned because they had no power going to them. So I lost the hydrogen, so that's a little bit of a bummer. But let's take a look at what we did get. So if I go into my large cargo 1, we should have a decent idea of what I got. So I got 415,000 iron ingots from all of the scrap metal that I accumulated, 65,000 steel plates, a fair few construction components, fair few interior plates. Unfortunately, I didn't manage to get many superconductors because of the fact that I think the jump drive that was in the main hull kind of got damaged by the fact that what are those blocks? The gyroscope, one of the gyroscopes dropped on it and actually destroyed half of it. So yeah, you got to be careful with those gyroscopes because they have like 500 steel plates in them. They are extremely heavy, and whenever they crash down, even if they like go, you know, they drop one block onto something else, then they cause a lot of damage. So I mean, all up, I really didn't get too much out of this thing. Got a few gravity components, but you know, nothing really special, and a few bits and pieces of ammo. So yeah, a little bit disappointing that I didn't get the superconductors, and that I also did not get my hands on any. Well, I think I got like 14 ingots of uranium, and then yeah, I didn't get my hands on any hydrogen either. So I mean, for 3 hours work, I don't know if it was really worth it, to be honest. But the thing needed to be, yeah, it needed to go, so I had to do something about it, so I couldn't just leave it sitting there. Alright, so now what I'm going to do is start fixing up these turret installations. So if we have a look into the Atlas, now I do believe the Atlas has, how many kilos is this weighing? This is weighing 5.92 million kilos. Alright, so technically, I think I should be able to lift about 6.2 million kilos in this gravity, but I think what I'll do is I am going to ferry all of the iron ingots because I don't need those, and I'm just going to dump them into the weld ship. So we'll put those all in here. So grinder 1, grinder 2. So I should be able to basically store quite a bit in this weld ship. Actually, let's hope this thing can actually carry that much. Can it? Yeah. Oh, it's right on the limit of how much this ship can carry, so jeepers. I didn't actually think it could carry that much in this gravity. 233,000 kilos. That's not bad. Alright, so I've got to be very careful with my descent here because it's not going to have much stopping power in the upwards direction. And I'll basically just hang off the edge of the Pilgrim. I suppose I could even use the Pilgrim to actually connect to the back of the Atlas and then move all the materials that way. All of the iron, but I think we should be okay with this. This should reduce the weight of the Atlas by at least, I'd say probably 300,000 kilos, give or take, which should be enough. Well, I don't know. I'm going to get rid of all the iron anyway, because I mean, yeah, I don't really want it in that ship anyway. So I'll go ahead and do that, and I'll be back once that is done. Alright, so now that all of the iron has been removed from the Atlas, we can go ahead and move this thing over to this turret installation so that then we can use all of the components I have gathered in the repair attempts for my turret installations. I still need to actually perform some repairs on the Atlas itself, but it's only really a front thruster, so I'm not really too concerned about it. Alright, moment of truth. Let's see if this thing will actually lift off the ground. And it will, just barely. So this thing is extremely heavy at this point in time. So we're going to use not a lot of fuel, but a little bit of fuel trying to perform these maneuvers. And you can see the thrusters are just going absolutely crazy, which is pretty cool. It still amazes me what this ship is actually capable of. It is just such a utilitarian ship. Got to be very careful here, otherwise we could damage the connectors. I mean the landing gear. Alright, cool. So she is locked down onto the ground. I will just confirm that all 3 landing gears, or at least 2 of them, are locked down onto the ground. So we've got 2 there, and this one here at the front should be locked down as well. Yeah, that one's locked down too. Cool. So if anything decides to come and attack us, we should be pretty good to go. Also, what I've done is I've re-enabled the guns on everything. Well, obviously with the exception to the ones that are completely blown up. But yeah, so if something does come along, I can take the Atlas away and then we should be good to go. So, alright, now I am going to embark on yet another time-lapse. And we are at least going to get this turret installation done and possibly another one. Although I'm not sure how much time we have left in this episode. So, also one other thing. I probably shouldn't have welded up this turret here because I don't know if I really want to replace... I actually do wonder if there are more components in this industrial conveyor sorter than there are in a conveyor junction. If there are, then I'm probably happy just to leave that and then we can just, yeah, kind of go from there. But alright, let us start with the time-lapse and get this thing repaired.
All I want
Alright, well that is the first turret installation done. The only thing I really need to do from this point is go ahead and fix up this little line of blocks here that is hopefully still connected. In fact, I am going to add a wind turbine to my build planner. Oh no, whoops. Character tools, add that one. Whoops, I was supposed to add that to my build planner, but instead I didn't do that.
Energy critical.
So then we should be able to charge the batteries on this beast of a little turret installation. So it actually didn't take me too long. I'm so glad that the Atlas was close by so that I could do that rather quickly. As I mentioned before, trying to do that without the Atlas being right there would have taken me absolutely forever. So yeah, I am kind of glad that the Atlas was there, and I just noticed I need to add in a couple more blocks here. So just need to add in a tip here, I believe, and then my corner tips here and then over on this side as well, and weld all those up. And I'm pretty sure all the lights are still here, so I don't need to replace them. But yeah, basically the entire top layer of this thing is now made of heavy armor. Interestingly enough, the ammunition or the cargo container that contained all of my ammunition didn't get blown up, so I don't think that was kind of a weak point of these turret installations. I'll have to go and check out the other ones and see if that was a issue with those ones, but I think, yeah, I mean, considering how much fire these things took, they actually held up pretty well. And if I have a look here, you can see that the cargo container is still living there. So with that added layer of extra armor, I think I should be okay. Now this one, on the other hand, I think that the ammo container did kind of explode, and interestingly enough, the batteries survived. Strange. Yeah, so the cargo container in this instance definitely did explode, or maybe everything got just destroyed. I don't know if it necessarily exploded, but anyway, I think that added layer of heavy armor should be enough to protect these things. And this one here actually got targeted by quite a bit of artillery fire as well, so and those rounds have a lot of penetration, so they were able to go through all of the armor that I had there. So I'm hoping that this setup will work a lot better, but I guess we'll have to wait and see. And hopefully next time we don't get a Crimson Tormentor to test out my base defenses. Yeah. Well, that's pretty much everything I have time for in this episode of Wasteland Survival, so I really hope you enjoyed the episode. It wasn't as glamorous as what I hoped it would be. Obviously, when there is a Reaver attacking your base, then I guess there is a lot of time you need to spend going around and repairing all of your stuff. So, if anything, it is, yeah, kind of realistic, I would say. So yeah, anyway guys, I really hope you enjoyed the episode, and I really hope to see you in the next episode of Wasteland Survival. If you did like this episode, then definitely consider leaving a like, and don't forget to subscribe so that you do not miss the next episode. Alright guys, I will see you next time.